Hello, St. Mary's. This past Sunday celebrating Pentecost was wonderful. We didn't get a chance to really talk or get into the nitty gritty of what Pentecost is about. So I wanted to share just a little bit about sort of the background of Pentecost and what it means for us all. Pentecost began as a harvest festival. Now, the word Pentecost literally means 50 days after, and it would be a celebration of the harvest of wheat. And so after 50 days, and there was a special day for it to be planted, 50 days later, there would be a thing called the Festival of Weeks. And you would bring in the harvest, and there was all kinds of celebrating around God who had been abundant to give the Israelites another harvest. During this time, it was also a time to recommit oneself to the covenant that God had made with Noah. And you remember the story of Noah and the ark, where God destroys all life, but makes a promise never to do that again, and promises to restore and remake all life. And that covenant was made with all flesh. And so when we celebrate Pentecost, we too are celebrating a harvest and a commitment. Think of Pentecost as a harvest. The seed of the word has been planted. And we say that word, that seed, is Jesus. Jesus' message has been nurtured and watered, and now the harvest has come. God has been faithful yet again in the sending of the Holy Spirit. And on that first Pentecost Sunday, where the Holy Spirit blows in like a wind and sits like tongues of fire on people's heads, we are reminded of this great harvest that has been shared. And on Sunday, we were reminded through the witness of our 6 students that God is still bringing about a harvest. And we are reminded to recommit ourselves to faithful service on behalf of this God of new life. And that new life has come in the death, resurrection, and ascension of Jesus. In fact, Jesus himself talks about harvest a good bit. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus, it tells us that he was going through all the towns and villages, and he was teaching, and he was sharing good news. And I'd like to read for you a passage from Matthew chapter 9. We'll be reading verses 35 through 38. It says, Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." And Jesus says there is a harvest out there. There is a world that is hurting, people who need the good news of God's love and acceptance, people who are longing for compassion, people who are beat down, who are helpless and harassed. And Jesus is inviting us, he's begging us to see those people for what they need. And Jesus sees that need as the possibility for harvest. And church, we can see it in the exact same way. We're invited to see the needs of the world, not as some kind of, the world's a horrible place, these people, those people are terrible. No, where there is need, there is opportunity for the church to bring about harvest. And in the story of Jesus and in the story of Pentecost, we realize that we are now sent. That is the season of Pentecost, the season of this harvest. And friends, I want to invite you, as we head off into the summer and into the season that we call the season after Pentecost, I want to invite you to think about the ways that we can participate in a great harvest. And as a congregation, there are many, many ways. Service to our neighbors, inviting other people to church. We'll run events like Vacation Bible School. We'll do things like outreach. Even the personal witness to others who are in our circles when they say, look, I feel helpless and harassed. What is going on? And to simply say, can I share a little bit about Jesus? You see, friends, the message of Pentecost is that the gospel is a message to be shared broadly and widely. And when it is shared, we can expect a great harvest. And isn't that what we long for as a congregation? To see lives changed through the power of Jesus Christ. And so in this reading from Matthew, we're invited to ask the Lord of the harvest for certain things. So friends, we are to seek a harvest. We're to look for that harvest. But a reminder, that is God's work, not our own. We have to listen to God and hear where God is calling us, and then to follow. Our work is to prepare the workers. Jesus says, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he might send workers into the field. And friends, don't be surprised when the answer to that prayer is you and me. Because each and every one of us is called to be a worker in this Pentecostal harvest. And so my prayer for you and for us as a congregation is that we might be equipped, we might be energized, we might be filled with the Spirit and sent into the world to go do that work. Wherever there is need, may we go to the world with the seed of this harvest, the good news of Jesus Christ crucified, resurrected, and ascended, and we seek a great Pentecostal harvest, even greater than we saw on Sunday. May we see that through our summer. So friends, that is my prayer for you as you go into this week and as you head into your summer. And in that, I pray that you might discover God's peace and good.